We have some beautiful August weather in progress here in Minnesota, so I'm going to do some antenna work today. Oftentimes we wait until winter when we discover we have problems with our antennas before we start working on them, but I'm going to jump ahead of that a little bit by working on one of my antennas today. This is my DX Engineering MBVE-2 vertical. In 2008, when I originally put the antenna up, it was the MBVE-1, which is a 43-foot vertical. And then I realized 43 foot's not really a good resonant frequency for the bands I primarily wanted to use. So I shortened it several years later to an MBVE-2 version, which is somewhere over 30 feet long. Overall, the antenna has held up pretty well over the years, but there is some maintenance that is required, and that's what I'm going to be tackling today. Another goal that I want to accomplish today is to lengthen the antenna just slightly to improve my SWR curve on the low end of 40 meters. About a year ago I replaced the original PL259 that is on here. The soldering job back in 08 was just awful, and I literally was able to just pull this connector right off the coax with my hands. So I did a much better soldering job here on this new one and should be in good shape for a long time. This is the original DX Engineering 4-to-1 ballon I got with the MBVE-1 in 2008. It worked for a long time, but a couple of years ago started having connection issues where it was cutting in and out, which I suspect is a cold solder connection. Instead of replacing it with the same thing, I had this Comtech 1-to-1 ballon, and I decided to replace it with that. Now, when the 43-foot verticals originally came out, there was some conjecture of whether or not a 4-to-1 ballon was the right choice, with many saying a 1-to-1 ballon was a better choice. So I went with the latter, and it's worked great ever since. Next thing I want to do is check the clamps for each section of the radiator and also check continuity, and we'll do that by using the DX Engineering tilt base that I purchased when I got the antenna. So let's show you how to lower it. Before you lower the antenna, make sure you have something on the other end down about 20 feet or so to prop the antenna up. I'm just using this chair. You don't want to lower the antenna directly to the ground as you could damage it. These two nuts and bolts here hold this in place so it doesn't move, so we got to loosen these first. It's been a long time since I've lowered this. You also have to loosen these two as well. Your installation may vary, but it's a good idea to remove the antenna braid to the main radiator before you lower the antenna. That way you won't get any stretching of the braid. Throughout the lowering process, you want to maintain upward pressure on the antenna. Constantly be pulling on it, pulling it upward until you get it down to the fully lowered position. When you pull the antenna up, you actually have to move it over just a little bit so you can get it into these tracks so it's able to tilt downward. As per DX Engineering's recommendation, I use Penetrox on each one of the tubular sections. That stuff gets kind of messy, so it's a good idea to wear gloves when raising or lowering the antenna. Yep, that's your 2020 champion. Number 9, Chase Elliott, Dawsonville, Georgia. With the antenna lowered, it's a good time to check and make sure this connection is good and solid and tight. This came loose on me a few years ago, and I didn't discover it until the winter time, and it was not fun trying to tighten this up in the winter and with the antenna in the vertical position. Checking each one of the clamps and make sure they're good and tight. They call these Jubilee clips in England. I'm not really sure why. First gaff of the day, it won't be the last. Checking to make sure there's good continuity between each tubular section. Good there. Well, look who the cat dragged in. George Scott, WA0FSE, is making an appearance.
Hey!
Well, I'm working on my MBVE-2 today, just doing a tune-up on it and making sure everything's good, and going to do a little bit of work on it. So,
Well, I'd like to join in and learn a bit.
The first rule we're violating is to doing antenna work in the summer. We should be doing this in the winter when it's 0 degrees and snowing out.
That's right.
What we're doing right now is I want to lengthen my vertical just a little bit so it's a little bit more resonant on the lower side of 40 meters. So we're just lengthening that and retightening the hose clamp. George discovered that we had a bad hose clamp because it wouldn't stay. So
You can see it's indented here.
Yeah, so glad we got that replaced. Well, now that George has completely screwed up any signal I would have on 30 and 40 meters, he is leaving.
Yes, I am. I'm looking forward to hearing how you're doing over there. I am going to bring a QRP Labs transceiver over, one of the little 5 waters, and see what you can do with it. I've got a 40 and a 20.
I'm going to reapply Penetrox in between each tubular section. Make sure you wear gloves because this stuff is nasty.
Well, it's not the prettiest job I've ever seen, but it seals the antenna and no one's going to notice it when it's in the air anyway.
There's 2 places you want the Penetrox, on the antenna and on a paper towel.
Happy dog! Oh, hey, you shouldn't be in there.
Hey, come on.
You shouldn't be in there.
No.
Now, when you're raising the antenna, it's the same procedure as when you're lowering it. Maintain upward pressure on the antenna as you raise it and slowly walk it towards the base. I'm maintaining lifting pressure, upward pressure on the antenna. And then drop it into the base.
After raising your antenna, make sure you tighten these things up because you don't really want anybody messing around with this.
I've got bow wow wow as I want candy playing in my head right now. Someone please shoot me.
Here's a look at the DX Engineering ground radio plate. Back in 2008 when this was installed, I put in 58 ground radials and they all had a very nice and neat taut appearance, as in K3LR Eat Your Heart Out. But here in 2021, I'm noticing a problem. As the ground is sunk, the radials have become tight and some have actually even broken off. You can see that right here. This ground radial is broken off and so is this one, and so is this one. On the other side, there's 4 of them that have broken off. So my suggestion now would be, instead of having it look all nice and tight, you may want to give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Maybe leave a little bit of slack in these because you can see how tight these are here. And what happens invariably, you're going to clip these with a lawnmower, meaning you'll run over them and then they'll break off. That's probably what's happened over here. But it also might be a function of the ground sinking or changes in the soil. So if you're going to install one of these, they're a great plate, but make sure you give yourself a little bit of room. What I've done in my current situation, since I can't reinstall all this, is I've loosened these 2 nuts here, and that has released this clamp from the main mast, and I just pushed the ground radio plate down just a little bit, maybe moved 1/4 of an inch, but it gave it a little bit more slack to the ground radials here. Here are 3 ground radials that have become detached. I'm going to fashion them together in a redneck sort of way and get them attached back to the radio plate base.
I love the smell of solder in the summer. This is more to cover up the evidence of my bad soldering than anything else. This probably won't make a huge difference, but it's nice to have 3 of my ground radials back. Now what I'm going to do is use these DX Engineering ground staples. They're ancient and rusted, but they'll still work. And knock this down like this to keep the lawnmower away from this, now that I've gotten 3 of my ground radials back. If you notice that the grass is looking rather parched, it's because we're in a drought, similar to the one we had in 1988. Now this is a bonus. I knew I had 1 disconnected radial that I found, but I didn't know there were 3 of them here. So I'll do the same thing on this side that I did on the other side, and I'll have 6 ground radials reattached to the antenna. Man, this solder is really old. I'll probably grow a 3rd eye. Earlier in this video when I talked about giving your ground radios a little bit of breathing room, don't make them so tight. This is kind of the poster child for why. This is why you tune into the WX0V YouTube channel. Who else would use a pipe wrench for a vise? By the way, these heat guns get really hot, so do yourself a favor and don't touch the tip like I just did a little bit ago. Ouch. It feels really strange to be doing antenna work in the summer. Oh good, my ride's here. The DX Engineering MBVE-2 is all tuned up and ready to go. So let's see how she performs. But first, I gotta get something to eat. In the spirit of Seinfeld's David Putty, feels like an Arby's night. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good day. Thank you.
French dip and Swiss. Made short work of that. It was delicious.
I'm sitting here on the bottom edge of 40 meters. I'll send my call sign to keep it legal. And run a carrier here. You can see about a 1:3 to 1 SWR there. So pretty darn good. It was 1:6 to 1, 1:7 to 1 here at the bottom edge of the band. And that's without the tuner. That's straight to the antenna, bypassing the tuner. Now we're going to go to the top edge of 40. I've already checked this out. I know there's nobody up here. And I'll send my call sign anyway. And you can see the SWR pretty much flat there. So not moving at all. So lengthening the antenna improved my SWR curve on 40 meters and gives me the ability to run 40 the entire band without the use of a tuner. Different story here on 30 meters. Watch the SWR. Yeah, pretty darn high, and that's to be expected. You can't have an antenna at the length that mine is and expect both 40 and 30 meters to be resonant. It just doesn't work that way. So gonna have to use a tuner on 30.
Time for a VSWR, or more commonly known, SWR, disclaimer. Many ops, myself included, use SWR as an indication of how well an antenna is performing. However, SWR is just a measurement of how well your transmitter and feed line are matched to your antenna. It is not a true indication of how well your antenna is actually radiating your signal. You can have a beautifully flat SWR from an antenna that radiates like a slice of cherry pie, so where does that get you? Although I do like cherry pie. So be leery of YouTube videos, quite frankly my own included, that tout a low SWR as the primary reason to use an antenna. Remember, and we've all heard this a million times, a dummy load has a flat match on all bands.
Overall, the antenna's tuned up, it's ready to go, all the connections are good, and I added 6 ground radials that I had lost before. Now, they probably won't make a huge difference, but they might make enough difference to maybe snag that DX I'm chasing on both of these bands. We'll have to see. With that said, thank you very much for watching in 73 from Whiskey X-Ray 0 Victoria.